All right, so I'm hopping on here super quick before it's time to run and get my oldest kid, my oldest buddy from carpool. And with good reason. I've been checking in with clients, I've been checking in with quite a few people, organizations I work with and for over the past day and so, just kicking off the new year. And I love those check ins. I love the energy, I love the conversations, and I learn a lot about what's happening real time for people as they're launching into a new year every time we have those conversations. There is a trend that sparked for me through a few of the conversations I've had that just gave me a little bit of energy that said, okay, share something about this or provide some guidance for folks who might need it, who might could use it or could tap into this at some point over this next month. So I'm Ronnie Dickerson Stewart. I'm the founder of Oh Hey Coach, which is a career navigation and executive leadership development consultancy. I work with leaders in some of the most fast paced industries to just have more agency over their careers, to have greater life work harmony, and to achieve and even define success on their own terms. Those are the people that I coach, and those are the people who I work with inside organizations. And I work with some of the biggest, brightest agencies, media companies, tech companies in the world and support their talent within their companies. So that's me. I also have a membership community called The Collective, powered by Oh Hey Coach, and the doors to that community close on January 6th, which is this Friday. The link is in my bio. So The Collective by Oh Hey Coach. Link is in my bio. This live is not about that. This live is about questions that great leaders, and I'm so intentional by using the word great leaders, not just leaders by title, but great leaders, intentional leaders, questions that great leaders are asking this month and asking specifically with the purpose of re-engaging their teams. And I'm sharing this because of the conversations I've had with certain people. They've, knocked the dust off their laptops and devices after not being on them in a while. And all those 2022 problems or challenges or projects that they wanted to wait to address in the new year are hitting them right in front of their eyes. And they're like, oh, got to deal with this. And so there's a sense of urgency for some folks about the work. And in the last day and a half or so, the first business days of the year has completely worn them out. But it's not just that, it's the energy they're being met with the leaders around them and the folks that are engaging with them aren't necessarily representing the type of energy that's like welcoming back into their space, especially after a break and especially as they're taking on a new year. So I said, okay, let me share with everyone, whoever could use this, a few of the questions that really great leaders are asking their folks versus just hopping into the work. Wham, bam, hello, Sam, hopping into the work without resetting a baseline. And I get it. Most folks were only, and hopefully, were only out of, working and breaking for the holiday, particularly if you're in the US, for 2 weeks. Some folks only maybe had a week or 10 days away. But either way, it may be a finite amount of time. But when the calendar shifts, it does present, itself with this new energy, new year, new y'all for some people. So there's an expectation that there's an opportunity to reset. And for some folks, it's not happening. So I'm going to share a few questions that great leaders this month, great leaders who, and I give grace. I'm not saying great leaders have to do this the first week of work. I'm not saying great leaders should do this, today, but I'm saying there's grace period the month of January when you're just starting your new year. Or really, you could apply this to any amount of time if your team has been, away, or you've had a changing of a season or a calendar year or a fiscal year, something significant that to your organization, this applies for that time period too. But with the calendar year changing, this is a very significant time period. Folks have been away, they're coming back, so there's an expectation. So here are a few questions you can use to re-engage your folks. I want you to come back to this live, the recording. I'll save it in my profile. You can take notes, whatever you might need, but I'm going to go over them now. And then I'm going to hop off and go get my kid from school because carpool. All right. So the first question is a very obvious one, but I'm going to say this one, and I'm saying it with intention because there's folks I've spoken to this week who've not had this question posed to them. First question: how was your holiday break? Yeah, that obvious. You're like, Ronnie, that's so basic. Actually, it is very basic. But there are folks who are hopping into work, wham, bam, hello, Sam, and not simply asking with intention, how have things been with you since the last time we connected? Like that's you would think like that's very basic. No, no. There are folks who have very specific projects and urgency and all these things that are resting on their shoulders, and they're just hopping into the work thinking that the team knows, they know what's ahead of us, they know the urgency, so we don't have to have the small talk. There's some people who think that asking how you are or how a significant break was just, meaningless small talk. And that cannot be further from the truth. Not just asking the question is important, but actually listening with intent about what the person, experienced or what they're going to say. There are folks who've been gone for a couple of weeks and have experienced highs and lows. They've had to be around family, they've traveled, they might have got caught up in some like crazy travel situation that's happened in the United States over the past couple of weeks. There's so many things that could be driving how they're showing up to work, and you won't know unless you ask with intention. And not just ask, actually create dedicated space in your week or your month to have the question, to ask the question. Now, this one, I guess, is a little bit time specific, because if you're asking me about my holiday break and it's almost, February 1st, it's almost, we're tipping into Black History Month, I'm going to look at you real crazy. Especially if we've had other interactions and meetings since then, that's not the sign of a good leader. So this is one that you want to go ahead and take care of in some of your first engagements with your team this week. Even if that means setting up 15 minutes just to debrief on that topic specifically or that question specifically. So ask with intention and listen intently, actively when you ask people how their holiday break was. All right. Next question is, and these are intentional questions that are going to engage your talent and get them on, and you and your entire team on the right foot for the new year. The second question is, what priorities you have for this year, and I'm saying priorities very loosely. A lot of folks go away for a break and they come back and they've set goals. They have all types of things that they're excited about. Again, new year, new y'all. And they want to be able to express and share that with folks who are in their workspace, because the folks you work with in your work environment are a part of allowing you to achieve or be able to address and support and nurture your priorities. And so giving them the space to share with you, if they like what those priorities are a great way to get to know your talent better and to give them the floor to understand that you care about the things that they are prioritizing and not just your agenda. So that one's very quick. So ask them what their priorities are for the new year, and you can ask it openly without expectation. All right. The next and third question is, this is more specific maybe to their work and not just general priorities or general goals, is this: what support or resources can I provide, or what barriers can I remove to help you be more impactful in your role, right? So what resources or support can I provide, or what barriers can I remove to help you be more impactful in your role? That last part, what barriers can I remove, is such a provocative question for a leader to ask one of their teammates or employees or the direct reports, because it says that I will use the strength that I have or the power of my position to your benefit if you give me clarity on how I can leverage that power, because that's why I'm here to help you, not just, not here just because I have a title. And that's a beautiful thing when leaders lean into that power for the good of their people, because that's why they should be in the seat, right? Those are the kind of leaders you want in the seat that says, I'll remove barriers for you so that you can have an impactful week, month, year, right? So that's a great question to ask. And with that, you have to follow up with it, right? You can't just sit there and ask the question to listen and to hear like nice things that you could do. After asking that question, you have to be willing to either negotiate, I can or cannot do that, or take action and say, yep, this is what I can do. And then build trust with your team by following through on that action. All right. So what resources can I provide, or what barriers can I remove, was the question. All right. Next question. This one's provocative because people don't like to ask this question because they're scared of what's going to come back. The question is, what feedback do you have for me, your leader, or the team or the organization that can help us all be more impactful this year? Now, I opened it up to team or organization, especially for those leaders who are like, oh, please don't sit here and roast me and just give me my feedback. But for my bold leaders, and hopefully you all who are listening or folks that you work with are bold leaders, they do want feedback about how they are doing in themselves. And so asking that question regularly, not just at the beginning of the year, is one that builds greater connection. It's one that I love to ask, like, what feedback do you have for me? Because it clears up confusion and it allows people to understand that you are in this together and you are an individual that is welcome to sometimes critique or sometimes kudos. That's, leaders can get kudos too. The feedback doesn't have to always be developmental, it can be motivational. And so, asking the question allows you to have greater clarity and allows you to see how the person that works with you on your team sees the world. And you never know what could come up. Something could come up that could be mind-blowing with respect to how you do work or what you prioritize or the things that you're delivering that you would have never been able to unlock without asking that question. The last question, and again, like I said, I got to go to carpool, so I'm not going to drag it. But the last question is, what opportunities for learning, growth, or development do you want to prioritize in the coming months or this year? That's an important question to ask for so many reasons. One, you can learn where this person wants to stretch and where they want to grow, but also you can have a better understanding of the resources that you as a leader may want to advocate for on behalf of your team. I love, love, love understanding for my teams. Hey, what conferences do you want to go to? What access to learning materials do you need? Are there books that you want to read or invest in? Is there a situation where you want to job shadow or have a mentor? Like, those are the types of things that when you know about that early enough in the year, you can allocate resources, you can allocate time, you can get on people's calendars before those calendars are full and get your team prioritized. And so that's an amazing question that great leaders ask at the top of the year to re-engage their team. Okay, so that's all I have. And I still have plenty of time to make it to carpool, which is great. Oh, hello to everyone who's joined. Any questions from anyone on the line? On the line. What am I? See, I'm an 80s baby. 90s raised me. I'm talking about the line. Anybody any questions for folks in the live? Just claps and hearts and waves. Excellent. Oh, that's very kind of you, J Simple Design. And what a cool, simple design you have in your icon. Anyone else? Is there one? Is there one? Okay, there are none. So, save this live, come back to it, and see it on my profile. I'll probably do a summary of this and post it to LinkedIn as well. You can connect with me there on LinkedIn, Ronnie Dickerson Stewart, and I'll probably share that with my crew on LinkedIn as well, because they're just such simple questions you can ask, and sometimes we just overlook them. And I don't want you to do that, because you're better than that. You're a better leader than that. You're definitely a better leader than that. So don't do that. Don't be those people who don't do these things. And I will see you the next time I see you. Like I said, the Collective Powered by Oh Hey Coach, my membership community. Again, this live is not about that, but I'm always going to shout it out until the doors are closed. There's a link to it in my bio. And in that community, these types of things are the things that we are discussing and reinforcing with some of the top leaders. There's EVPs, SVPs, authors, like folks who have, on their next moves from different companies, folks who are in tech organizations, like the biggest ones in the world are actually in this membership. And these are the things that we talk about so that they can have a more refined approach to the impact they'll have as leaders in the world. And not just the things we talk about tools for incorporating this in terms of like just a regular cadence for how they run their teams, how they engage their direct reports. And so that's the type of things that we coach against and the tools we provide within the Collective Powered by Oh Hey Coach. Why? Because we want you to have more agency over your career. We want you to have practice greater life-work harmony. And life-work harmony, a throughway for that is having a great relationship with your team, right? Because you're working through your team and with your team. So if that's out of sync, you're not going to have harmony, life-work harmony, right? And then the last thing is defining success on your own terms, your own unique terms. And a lot of our success career-wise is articulated by our relationships with our team, how they see us, right? Or how they can build you up or they can take you down. And I want to do what I can to work with leaders to ensure that they are the best stewards of teams and the best stewards of future leaders. And that's why part of why I do the work I do. All right. So we'll talk soon. I will catch you all later, and off to carpool I go. All right. Bye.